One of the biggest mysteries left by the first chapter of the JOJOLands was the nature of Jodio Joestar's lineage. While we know that his mother is Barbara Ann Joestar, sister of Holly Joestar Kira, and hitherto unknown child of Joseph Joestar of the new continuity, the nature of Jodio's paternal side has been left pretty much entirely vague, based on his name, Jodio, and his shared circumstances with Giorno Giovanna of the original continuity. Many have speculated that Jodio is a descendant of Diego from Steel Ball Run, which I believe to be a reasonable stance to take. But, given the large gap in time between Steel Ball Run and the JOJOLands, as well as the new continuity incarnation of Dio lacking any vampiric nature that would allow him to survive the necessary length of time in order to become involved with Barbara Ann, it's more likely that Jodio's father is not Diego, but rather, Diego is his grandfather or great-grandfather. So the question of who exactly Diego had a child with is much less clear. Many presume that it must have been Hot Pants, but the timeline required for this simply does not pan out. There is, however, an alternative scenario worth considering. He fucked the horse! He fucked the horse, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I understand, this is a bold claim to make, but stick with me, and I think you'll come to find that the evidence pointing towards this being the case is insurmountable. First and foremost is the lineage of Diego's horse, Silver Bullet. Now, for the duration of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, ever since Stardust Crusaders, members of the Joestar lineage have been equipped with a distinct birthmark denoting themselves as being a member of the bloodline. This mark has remained exclusive to those who are directly descended from a Joestar. Ignore that, ignore that, ignore that, ignore that. But despite this, we've seen another character with the same birthmark. That's right, Diego's horse, Silver Bullet. More like Silver Bullet Joestar. There's more. Now, how did a horse become a member of the Joestar lineage, which is composed of humans? Well, I think the actual question we should be asking is, how did humans become members of the Joestar lineage, which had, in all likelihood, up until now been entirely composed of horses? Well, therianthropy, that being the shapeshifting of animals into humans, is a common feature of most folklore. And, as we know from the Thus Spoke Rohan Hishibe series, in the universe of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, all forms of mythic belief are real. Most likely, the Joestar family we know of are descendants of horses that shed their animal form in order to become human. This explains the Joestar family's natural equitation abilities. Moreover, horses, of course, have an affinity with water, being descendants of the sea god Poseidon, which explains why Gappy and Jodio are both water-themed. Now, you may be thinking, wouldn't this mean that Jodio has Joestar ancestry on both sides of his family? Isn't that kind of messed up? And yes, that is the most messed up implication from all this, but you would be wrong, because Joseph Joestar only had one child. See, it says it right there. Therefore, Barbara Ann Joestar is, in all likelihood, not related to the Joestars by blood, and Jodio and Dragona's Joestar lineage comes exclusively from their father's side of the family. Now, you may be asking yourself, if Jodio is part horse, then why does he not resemble a horse very much? Surely his horse side would be more visibly apparent. But first off, it's important to remember that he's most likely only 1/4 horse, at most, not full-blooded horse. So his horse traits likely wouldn't be as prominent as his human traits. Hell, we've seen full-blooded horse characters like Whole Horse that still very much resemble humans, so this isn't that far-fetched. But make no mistake, Jodio does have visible horse traits. Where, you might ask? Right here. He has a ponytail. The first Ultra Jump cover to feature the JoJoLands even goes so far as to give Jodio a majestic silver mane in honor of his grandmother, Silver Bullet. There's more. We don't actually know for sure where the original Silver Bullet was left following Diego's death. What we do know is that they were last seen a scant distance away from the Delaware River, on the Philadelphia coastline, less than a few hours away from Atlantic City, which is exactly where the Joestar family would come to be situated from the beginning of World War II onwards. The horse is also only 4 years old, which would make Diego a pedophile, but hey, what else is new? The main issue that arises is the question of how. I mean, this isn't Greek mythology we're dealing with here. This is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, a story driven entirely by facts and logic, and it's a fact that horses and humans cannot procreate. That is, under normal circumstances. Because do you know two entities that are, in fact, capable of procreation? That's right, dinosaurs and other dinosaurs. You know where this is going. On those lonely nights out on the American countryside, isolated from civilization for weeks at a time, Diego Brando was brought to desperation. He needed something, someone, to satiate his unending hunger. He looks to his soul companion and speaks a fair few words beneath his breath. scary monsters. But the scariest monster may very well be Diego himself.
Sir, if you would please just take a look at my proposal, okay? Because I think you'll find it persuasive.
I don't want
Just
it.
look at it, sir. Just look. What do you see?
A man. Fucking a horse.